How are we, guys? Welcome to Double O Heaven. Now today I'm going to show you the very best way in which you can get your population for your layout painted quite quickly. Alright, now the figures we're going to be painting are the Dapol ones. Now these are actually quite cheap to get. I got these in a pack of 36 and it only cost me about £11.50, so that's not too bad for the amount of figures that you get. Now, the only thing with these is, if I turn them around, you can see that they got some mould flash along the back of them. So first thing we need to do is get those trimmed off before we do the undercoat. Now, the paints I'm using is a version of the Games Workshop Citadel paints and the Game Colour paints as well. Now, I didn't go out and buy these specially for this hobby. These are what I had left over from the previous hobby, so I don't suggest you go out and buy these unless you do have extra money to burn. They are quite decent paints, I must admit, and there's no point me going out buying extra paints because I can use them just as well for this hobby. Now, one thing I will stress is brushes. Now again, the brushes I'm using I had left over from my previous hobby, so I am using the Citadel Colour, some of the Citadel Colour brushes from Games Workshop, and I'm also using a set of other brushes that my lovely fiance got me. I don't know where she got these from, so you guys are going to have to search for these yourselves. W Lot. These are the pack that they came in, and I'll tell you what, I rate them. They're really good brushes. They hold their form really well. I've used this one quite extensively as basically a layer brush, and it's held its shape really, really well, and they do the job when they're comfortable to hold as well, because you've got the thicker handle up and above here. So yeah, if you guys can find these, I do recommend them. But anyway, without further ado, let's make a start today. Right, so yeah, first thing we need to do is clip these little bits of mould flash off around the back, and then we can apply an undercoat. Right, now we've trimmed all the bits of flash off, we can start with the undercoat. And now at this stage, what you really want to do is leave the models, the figures on the sprue, so that'll make it much easier for handling while you're undercoating. Now we're going to use a white undercoat, and before I start I'll just use a tiny bit of water on my brush, because we don't want the paint to go on too thick to obscure any of the detail of the model. And we just want to put a light undercoat on, just so when you come to do the base coat, the paint just helps stick onto the model much better. So let's just do the top row of people for now. Well, I ended up undercoating all the standing figures in the end. So yeah, we'll let them dry, and then we'll make a start on the base coat. Now, I do like these figures because they are kind of period dressed for the period I'm going for, which is 1930s, 40s, so you know, they're all wearing their hats and everything else. So I'm going to paint these in the colours accordingly. So you know, the ladies up here got green and sort of dark red maroon, and the gents, you know, sort of darkish brownish colours. And yeah, I'll show you what the idea is. Right, okay, so I've added a base coat on a few of these people here. Now again, you want to leave them on the sprue just while you're doing the base coats, so it makes them just a lot easier to put them on. And what we'll do, we'll complete a couple of these just to show you how to get, you know, some really nice fine detail on, you know, rather quickly. Right, once I've got the model clipped off and I want to paint him, what I like to do is, so he's still easier to hold, so just get a little blue tag on top of a paint pot, and I'm just going to plant him on there. just like so. Then that way he's still very accessible to paint. Right, now with a smaller detail brush, we'll paint in some of the details with black. Again, just slightly watered down, just so we don't obscure any of the detail. So just pick out the smaller details in black, like the shoes and the briefcase. It's okay to go over the edges of the shoes onto the base, because I'm probably going to trim the bases off of some of these. And we'll let that dry, and then what we'll do is we'll add a wash to the coat to pick out the shade and then the detail onto that. And then we'll do the same with the skin. So there we go, there's the shoes and the briefcase picked out. We'll just pluck him off of there. And I'm going to do the same with this young lady here. We'll just plonk her onto there. Now I've gone from a maroony colour to keep in with that as a very sort of fashionable colour during the 30s and 40s. I think I'll do a scarf black as well. Right, now with this chap here, we'll give his hat and coat a wash with a darker colour, which will be a slightly darker brown, which will pick out the recesses and the detailing of the jacket and the hat. Now, washes you can use straight from the pot because they are very much watered down anyway. But again, I'll just add a touch, literally just a drop of water on the brush anyway. And you only want just a tiny bit of this. And just wash it over the coat and in amongst the recesses, just to pick out the shading. And then what we can do later is go over it again with the lighter colour just to pick out any of the highlights. So as you can see there, probably not very well, but it's picked out some of the recesses of the coat and in with the shading. There you go, you can see a much better idea now of the shading and the picking out, the detail and using the wash. So we'll let that dry and then we'll do the skin and do a bit of highlighting. Now again with the lady here, we'll go over it with a violet wash and then we'll pick out the detailing again with the red colour afterwards. Just to pick out any areas of shading. And as you can see, just adding that shading brings the colour of the clothes to life. We'll let that dry and add a bit more detail. Right. Now, as you can see, I've added a few more of the details. So we've got the handle on the umbrella there. Camera's having trouble zooming in. There we go. And I've also added the hair. So she's going to be a blonde lady. Now, what I like to do here is I'm going to shade the skin, because ladies would have worn their stockings back in them days. They wouldn't have had bare legs. So I'm going to add a skin shady colour here. And then maybe go over the skin with a dry brush to pick out the highlights. But we'll do that very, very lightly. And yep, there we have it. You can see by just using simple shading, it really picks out the detail and the shading of the model. Very simple technique. Well, there guys, there we are. That didn't actually take very long at all. That took me all of about sort of half an hour just to get those little ones done and undercoated and everything else. But yeah, they're looking quite good. I'm afraid the reverse camera's not too pucker on here, but you kind of get the idea. They're looking good. But anyway, guys, stick around for the next episode, because there's going to be one or two new additions coming up to the layout, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all for me for today. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, guys, and I will see you all in the next episode. Take care for now. See you later.